What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons. My name is Chris, and with me today, a Wonder Twin.
Yay! On our last episode of the Wonder Twins Take Manhattan, that's not a real movie, because obviously you already knew that. Robert was off on a job, and Robert's still off on a job. So
it is now almost 11.
It is
PM, and Robert is out fixing someone's computer.
Yes, he's out doing some fun networking and computer stuff and all these fun odds and ends. So,
crazy.
The joys of business ownership. We're dedicated people, though. So if you
Copeland Computer Solutions.
Exactly. For all of your computer needs, call phone number redacted.
Oh man, I was so excited. Just for the listeners, when the Wonder Twins first started Copeland Computer Solutions, I remember getting a phone call at an ungodly early hour. It was like 6 a.m, or like 6:30, something like that. Something where it was too soon for me to justify answering the phone. But it was late enough that if it was an emergency, like my alarm was going to go off soon enough where it was like, I'll just check it when I actually wake up.
Yeah.
And after I didn't answer, I got a voicemail. And the voicemail, keep in mind, at like 6:30 in the morning, was the Wonder Twins singing their jingle. Because they had just written the jingle the night before.
Yes.
And were so excited that I had to get a phone call in the wee hours of the morning.
Yes.
The wee hours of the morning for someone who worked until like 2 a.m.
Exactly.
As a door guy / sound tech at a music venue. I had to get a phone call 4 hours after I went to sleep with the jingle. It was that important.
So bizarre too, because I'm not usually up that early. So, but clearly something. It was just illuminated.
It was very excite.
Exactly.
It was very excite.
But yes, we're dedicated people, so I will carry this, and hopefully Robert will be back for our next episode in a few weeks. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But anyways, now that we've gone down that incredibly deep rabbit hole, thanks to everybody for tuning in. If you're new to the show, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can go to Between the Cons for any of those things, and you'll find us there. Also, you're listening to the podcast already, so you already know at least one place where you can find our podcast, a few other places, possibly including the one you're using. We are on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on Overcast, which is my favorite for all you Apple users. Overcast, pay for the premium version. It's so good. It has this thing called Smart Speed. It reduces the gaps. So if you're listening to an hour-long podcast, it could shave 7-8 minutes off of it. It's really neat, and it doesn't distort it. But anyways, that's just a completely random side note. Overcast, we're on iHeartRadio. We're on pretty much anything you can get a podcast on. We're also on YouTube, betweenthecons.com/YouTube, or you can just go to betweenthecons.com/subscribe, click the option that you prefer for your podcast listening experience, and it will take you to that site so you can subscribe to our show. That being said, when you do listen, please rate, please review. If you're listening on our website, leave comments, shoot us an email, do whatever. Let us know how you guys feel about the show, what we should do differently, what we should not do differently, all the things that you hate. If you want to send us some troll mail, please do. I would love to start reading emails on the show.
Just let us know you're out there. We want to hear from you. We want to just hear from you. So let us know you're listening. Please. We beg of you.
You're a lot more desperate than I am. I do this for my own pleasure. I don't do this for the pleasure of the people. Are you serious? I just love talking about the things that I love, and I don't really care who listens.
Of course. Certainly. That's the best mentality for a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just
absolutely.
I get to speak in this giant gray phallic technology device and just gush about all the things that I love. It was probably a terrible choice of words in gush, but oh well. Anyways, we have a Topic Thunder episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the Inhumans. The Inhumans is coming out it's actually out in IMAX and then coming out at the end of the month. Little TV series on ABC. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then also just about the Inhumans. Who are they? Kind of lesser known group from Marvel. So yeah, stick around, learn you something. So like I said, we're going to be talking about the Inhumans today. The Inhumans are a Marvel property. Very, very generically stated. Just recently, I think 2 weeks ago, or last week, came out in theaters, in IMAX theaters, to debut episode 1 and episode 2 of the new series coming to ABC on September 29th. It's going to be, I think, an 8 or 10 episode season.
Yeah, it'll be 8 episodes.
8 episode season.
Each episode is, hour long. I mean, well,
42 minutes.
Commercials around 40 something minutes.
Yeah. So 40 minutes, 40-minute episodes, 8 of them, starting September 29th on ABC. I'm excited about it. I know there have been a lot of naysayers out there about the show, especially those that went and saw it in IMAX last weekend.
Oh, gee, yeah, like me and Robert. So,
right, yeah,
yes.
Right. But my thing is it's difficult to make an assessment, of the first 2 episodes. I mean, I totally get it because the pilot is like that's where you have to draw your audience. If you don't draw them in with the pilot, it's not going to do well, statistically, historically speaking. But I will say this, Rotten Tomatoes, the average score right now is 3.85 out of 10. It doesn't have enough reviews yet to actually reflect on the tomatometer or the tomato meter for you lay people. On IMDb, it's got a 5. This doesn't make any sense to me. It's got a 5.5 out of 10 overall. However, episode 1 is rated 7.1 and episode 2 is rated 7.3. So that would leave me to believe that the show is rated 7.2 because that's the average of the only 2 things we've seen so far.
Yeah, what I would say to that is that we went to check it out in IMAX on Saturday night. This Saturday night, probably around 9:30. There was only 7 people in the theater, including ourselves.
Wow.
So it's not entirely surprising that there's not much buzz or reviews because they already cut down. Like, I think the IMAX engagement was supposed to be 2 weeks, and I think they've already cut it back to 1 week. So the buzz around the series, I think it's been underwhelming. People flowing into theaters to see this. A lot of people, they've had almost completely empty showings of Inhumans in IMAX.
Well, I mean,
and then
from my perspective, it's I don't want to pay to see 2 episodes in IMAX. Like, if you asked me to pay $25 per ticket to binge watch the entire season before it airs, absolutely. I am totally there. I will watch an entire series in a day on an IMAX screen for $25 for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pay $20 to go per ticket to go to your IMAX theater, your expensive movie room, plus popcorn and a drink for only what did we say? 42 minutes?
Yeah, it was
So
a
not
little
even an
clocked in,
hour
just
and a
a little
half.
under 90 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
not even an hour and a half to pay $15 to $20 a ticket. It's obscene. Like, I'm super amped on this show. I've been talking about this show since we first heard about it. I mean, I was in frickin' Hawaii when they started filming it. So like, I didn't see it directly, but I was driving through Hawaii, like on Oahu, when they were filming the scenes where Lockjaw teleports Black Bolt into the middle of the street.
Wow, cool.
So it was like, I've been amped on this movie since like pre-production and early production, or not movie, series. But I can't justify a $25, $30 hour and a half for myself.
Well,
to
it's
go see it.
understandable. Like, it was a jump. Certainly, it was to create buzz. They filmed the whole series, I think, with IMAX cameras. So it's understandable they were trying to create buzz around it. Also, the Inhumans. If you've not followed the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Inhuman stuff was originally going to be a full-fledged film, and then it got pushed back. And then it essentially got pulled from the Marvel Cinematic Universe schedule. I mean, but they were so convinced they were going to go the Inhumans movie route.
They've spent a lot of time on it, on the show, on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They did. They shoehorned in Inhumans starting in season 2, and it's been a pivotal point in every other season. So they were really convinced they were going to do this Inhumans film, and then it got dropped from the schedule. And then in the split between when Kevin Feige essentially parted ways with anything to do with the television end and helmed only the film end, and then Ike Perlmutter ended up with just the television end, Inhumans got dumped to the television end. And I think you're completely right regarding the IMAX thing. The IMAX does not add anything to the experience of the first 2 episodes of Inhumans. If you like watching things on a big screen, that's great, but it is not going to make the experience any more exciting for you. So you're going to be just fine sitting in front of your TV on September 29th and watching it there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll put this out there. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been at a very steep and very steady decline since the airing of the first episode. And I don't say that lightly. Season 1, pilot episode, 12 million viewers. 12 million view. That's a ton.
Yeah.
For a pilot? That's insane. That's insane viewership for a pilot. By the end of season 1, 5.45 million viewers. They lost over half of their viewership in a season. And to give you an idea of where it stands now, Season 4, which just ended in May, the season finale had 2.08 million viewers.
Like, this show, it's shocking it got a season 5.
Yeah.
But they've really, as bad as 2.8 million sounds, they've really
2.08,
not even close to 3 million.
Yeah, 2.1 million.
They've really done a lot to right the ship since the disastrous season 1. And now season 4, some people have called it the best season they've had so far. They had Ghost Rider, they had LMDs, so they introduced some interesting. So it was they did some impressive things in season 4. And I think they've created a lot of positive buzz going into season 5. Do I think they'll get back to 12 million? No.
Oh, no.
Do I think there's an
here's something to put it in perspective. The pilot episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out September 24th, 2013. 12.12 million viewers on a standard cable channel for a show that now you get laughed at if you watch. Game of Thrones, The Dragon and the Wolf, Season 7, Episode 7, the season finale that just aired a few weeks ago. 12.07 million viewers. The premiere, the pilot episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had more viewers than the most popular television show in history.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is insane. And I think, in my opinion, that is why Marvel has pushed so hard on Inhumans, because Inhumans, if it hits, and it hits hard, and it stays that way, and when I say hard, I mean relatively hard. If it hits 5 million, and it sticks at 5 million, and sticks at 5 million for the whole season, when people go back and they say Marvel did another TV show, that TV show was called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and pretty much 2.5 seasons are pretty much 1.5 seasons are based around the Inhumans and the Terrigen Mist and this stuff that we learned about in this Inhumans mythos. It's going to bring those viewers back in to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So they've been on this huge campaign to bring Inhumans into IMAX. Make it such a big deal. Bring on top-notch actors like Anson Mount. And and as funny as it is, scalp someone from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maximus the Mad in Inhumans is played by E.188, whose name I'm going to butcher because I don't know how to say it and it's weird. He's a Game of Thrones. He made his fame on Game of Thrones. He did. He was Ramsay Bolton, and they pulled him over from it. He was on Misfits back in the day on the BBC. He was in Game of Thrones. They pulled him into IMAX for Inhumans because Inhumans is the Game of Thrones of the Marvel Universe. It is the royal drama of the Marvel Universe. But I think it's I don't want to call it a cash grab. I think it is a attention grabber to remind people, hey, we make movies that you like. We also make TV shows that you would also probably like. Because I'll be honest with you, the decline that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. saw in the first season was well deserved. The first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was rough. The first between episode 1 and episode 8, which probably the worst part, like that was like the worst chunk of it. 12.12 million viewers to 6.89. Lost almost half their viewership in 8 episodes. And then jumps back up episode 9 because Jed Whedon comes back. He starts getting more involved with actually writing the episodes. And the show starts to get better. But then by that point, everybody's like, this show is just so exhausting because like the first few episodes were so bad, and now like I didn't want to watch those, and now I can't catch up because I'm 9 episodes deep and I only saw the first 2. And then it was just steady decline from there, and it has such this bad rep that it's a terrible show. And I'll tell you, it's not. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a good show. It had a rough start.
It did, and it in a sense of it, it is amazing how they did right the ship in the first season, because I mean it was a remarkable feat that they made it past the first season. And I feel like the first early season episodes were almost necessary to lay a groundwork, but it was a good thing they got away from the kind of the Scooby-Doo mystery of the week format they were really getting at in the first few.
I think they concentrated a little too heavily on tying in every Marvel movie.
Yeah, I felt like they felt really obligated, which I feel like that helped to an extent, but I feel like that now that they've gotten away from that, in a sense of it, they'll have little nods here or there. I think that that's been it's been beneficial for them to not feel locked down to every time their episodes have to be recorded around a Marvel film. So I feel like it's helped them to be able to get past that and to do their own thing.
Yeah, and they've started following actually the comic books a little bit. And they've started having their own like chunks, kind of like Gotham, where Gotham splits their seasons in half now and tells like a different storyline for each half. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has, I think it's either 6 or 8 episode arcs, which feels so comfortable for the comic book fan, because that's what we're used to. We're used to reading 5-issue comic story arcs. And that's the same thing they're doing in the show. Like you said, Ghost Rider, LMD, Agents of Hydra, that they're starting to break up their seasons with season 4 into separate arcs. And I think honestly, it's making it a better show
absolutely,
because you're not having to strain yourself for 22 hours to follow this one story from beginning to end.
I mean, yeah, it is rewarding. Like they do a lot of fan service, and it is rewarding as a fan to follow the whole thing. But I understand not everybody is that sort of viewer,
right.
So it's worth it to have watched the entire series from beginning to end. Like straight up, it's worth it. But it is good that it does keep you entertained and occupied, like you said, to not have to focus on following an entire 22 episode story arc, to have it broken up into smaller chunks. To refocus things, to make things still feel energized and not just dragged out to the nth degree. So
yeah, and we got on a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. soapbox just now.
We did, but it's like, I mean, that all ties back to though Inhumans, in the sense of, I mean, I guess we're gonna be spoiler free here, in terms of the review, and I guess in terms of, we're not really here for a review, or more covering kind of the history of Inhumans in a sense, but I'm going to tell you all out there in podcast land to temper your expectations about the 2 episodes. People, it's been lambasted. It's not been good with social media. It's, in my opinion, it was not that great. It just was not. I'm sure that fans of the Inhuman series are going to love seeing the characters on the screen. They're going to love seeing Lockjaw. They're going to love having some of that mythos explored. And I hope that the last 6 episodes of it are a lot better, that things start coming together and making more sense. I hope so. But temper your expectations, because
And I'm gonna take a Chris 2 approach and blindly follow my passion on this one. and blindly defend it. Not blindly follow. Blindly defend it. So I really hope Chris 2 is listening, so he can get a taste of that zinger. But but the thing about the Inhumans is they are not what we're used to in Marvel. And I'm not saying that discredits the Wonder Twins at all. I'm not saying that the show is good. I think I made it pretty clear at the beginning of the episode, but I haven't seen it yet. So I cannot have an opinion. But the Inhumans are a very different, very, very different story, character, everything from what we're used to seeing with Marvel. Even like Guardians of the Galaxy were a very different thing from what we're used to with Marvel. At least on a mainstream media level. The Inhumans takes it a step further. And I'm going to use this as kind of my segue to get into a little bit of who are the Inhumans, give you guys a little bit of a lesson. Since I feel like a lot of a lot of people would be interested in the Inhumans if they actually knew who they were or what they were about. So, baby little history lesson. The Inhumans, we met Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And Ronan the Accuser is a Kree warrior. And the Inhumans are actually the rejected test subjects of the Kree. The Kree were they were at war with the Skrulls. That's what we're going to see in Captain Marvel, the Kree Skrull War. The Inhumans are the result of the Kree trying to make a mutant soldier, like a powerful mutant race of soldiers, that they could use to fight the Kree, to fight the Skrulls. Because the Skrulls, with their shape-shifting capabilities and all of their powers that they have, they honestly just were outpowering the Kree. Once they were rejected by the Kree, the Inhumans actually formed their own society. They developed advanced technology. They discovered the Terrigen Mist. And the Terrigen Mist, for those of you unfamiliar, is a substance that basically mutates whatever living organism it comes in contact with. Mutates in the way that we're not supposed to use it because Fox sucks.
Exactly.
But it mutates them. So it gives special powers. It does these things. It is what makes a normal person a super person. So they're led by Black Bolt. And the royal family consists of Medusa, Karnak, Gorgon, Triton, Crystal, and Maximus the Mad. Or Maximus the Magnificent, depending on when you actually pick up the books. And then, of course, everyone's favorite canine companion, Lockjaw. So, a little bit about the characters really quick. Black Bolt has the stupidest name you've ever heard, even in comics. His name is Blackagar Boltagon.
Oh my God.
Blackagar Boltagon. I'm just going to let that sit with you guys. So stupid.
It's ridiculous.
But anyways, Blackagar Boltagon, Black Bolt, he actually dethroned the Unspoken, who was the first king of Adelan. And he did that with the help of Gorgon, Karnak, and Medusa. His superpower, he has a great destructive power that he can use through his voice. The power has been equated to a nuclear weapon. Basically how that works is he draws electron energy from the environment, but he can also use that to create energy blasts, to fly, to increase his strength. It allows him to survive in space, and he can actually manipulate matter through it as well. I've talked about the Illuminati on the show a couple times, but Black Bolt was a member of the Illuminati through the voice of Professor X, who would read his mind and speak for him because he didn't want to kill everybody. Medusa, Black Bolt's wife, she has arguably the stupidest superpower of any super person in all of super history. She can control the rate of growth and movement of each strand of her hair.
Wow, that is
quite
unusual.
Quite unusual, yeah. Given her hair is tougher than steel, which that I would say is pretty super. I would say it's pretty neat. I wouldn't say it's pretty super. But she can also maintain control of her hair once it's been cut off, which is really interesting, and no spoilers from the Wonder Twin. But we do see in the latest TV spot for the Inhumans, Medusa does have a shaved head at the end of the spot. So I think that's going to be a really interesting take.
That's actually really kind of just really stupid on ABC Television's part to put out that particular, because I mean it's not it depends on your view of things, but I think that it does for the people that are the television audience that have not seen it in IMAX. I would consider it, and people that at least know from the comic books, I'd feel like that's a bit of a it's supposed to be a shocking moment,
right?
But anyway, ABC Television, you really screwed that up. I'm sure you listen to this podcast and care about our opinions.
Yeah, you blew it. You blew it. Love the Wonder Twin. But Medusa, fun fact, was actually a former member of the Fantastic Four, which is really cool because the Fantastic Four is a cosmic team. They spend a lot of their time teaming up with other worlds and the heroes of those worlds.
Horrible feature films.
Right, when they're not trapped in horrible feature films. Exactly right. Karnak is probably my favorite, mainly because his name is Karnak and he is basically a carny. He has superhuman strength, superhuman metabolism, reaction time, endurance, speed. He's actually a more perfect specimen, the air quotes there, than Captain America, which is really cool. And then interesting fact, he has voluntary control over his breathing, heartbeat, bleeding, how he feels pain, and also his rate of healing, which is super neat. He's super, super flexible, basically a contortionist, and has, through training, has actually toughened his striking surfaces on his hands and his feet. So he has like huge, thick calluses. So he's actually like a pretty fierce fighter as well.
It's also interesting, at least within the Inhumans television series, how they demonstrate his power, because he's almost got an ability of foresight, like to the nth degree, to tell any possible scenario of his actions, whether it's a fight, whether it's his interactions or relationship with somebody. So, I mean, it's really amazing to see how that power is demonstrated in the show. There's some good points to the show. I mean, there's some good things. I think the way they demonstrate his power, the visualization of it is really cool. So he was probably one of my favorites in the television series, the 2 episodes there. So he's definitely a highlight, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I like that a lot. Gorgon, arguably the worst of the Inhumans. He has no real superpower, but he's got super strong legs. And he can like stomp the ground and cause like seismic shocks.
Are they goat hooves like in the show, or does he have like regular feet in the comics?
Oh, in the comics, he just has feet. He's just a person.
Okay, he's like a centaur.
Oh my!
Like
goodness.
a 2-legged centaur in the television series.
That's goofy.
It is. So I mean, he works it though. He works those calves, those hooves.
Oh my!
He knows how to work it, but yeah, it's a strange portrayal. So I guess if you despise him in the comics, you will probably despise him even more in the television series, considering he does not have normal feet anymore. So.
Oh my gosh. Triton is probably my favorite of the Inhumans, except I really hate the way they made him look on the show. I think he looks super cheesy on the show. And he is actually this like really cool, like scaly sea creature in the comics, which is excellent. But anyways, he's awesome. He has all the water abilities. He swims at great speeds. He can withstand intense amount of pressure. He can't breathe air. So he actually has to be in contact with water to survive. But he has some, not super strength, but he's really strong because he has that resistance to pressure from being a sea-like creature.
He kind of, in the TV series, he kind of resembles like a direct-to-DVD Jim Carrey in The Mask.
Oh my gosh, he really does. His character looks terrible.
It's I'm not gonna give you spoilers, but anyway, anyway, yeah. So
Yeah,
dollar
I've
stores.
seen pictures from and he's been in a couple of the TV spots. Just a couple more. Crystalia Maximoff is her name. She is Medusa's sister and actually is Quicksilver's wife. So Pietro Maximoff, the son of Magneto, married an Inhuman, Crystal, Medusa's sister. She's super cool. She can animate and manipulate the basic elemental substances, so earth, wind, fire, water.
So she's kind of like, an avatar, but before avatars were cool.
Right. But the funny thing about it is she's the total hippie Inhuman, so she's like abnormally vulnerable to pollutants.
Wow.
Things like that. Like, yeah, it's super cheesy, but it was like,
don't vape around her. You hear that? Hear that? No vaping.
She's definitely the the propaganda character of the Inhumans. And then two more, Maximus, Black Bolt's brother, Maximus the Mad. He is garbage. He has mind control, but it's severely limited. So at least in the comics, he's not a very powerful Inhuman. And his main power is just limited mind control. It's kind of sad.
It's also,
but he's super manipulative and he's really twisted.
As odd as it is, he's probably the most captivating character in the at least the 2 episodes, in my opinion. He does an excellent job. Like, his acting is spot on.
Yeah.
He works. The one thing you have to really keep in mind is these actors, they do pretty decent with what they're given to work with, and
right.
he does not hold back. Like, he does a pretty decent job with what he's given.
And the interesting part about it is his character, Maximus the Mad, is a lot like Ramsay Bolton. You're led to believe that he's a good member of the team, and then all of a sudden he is just a terrible, twisted, evil-minded person with terrible, terrible intentions. So it's really interesting because they in my opinion, they straight up stole him from Game of Thrones because he is playing essentially the exact same character, just the superhero alien version. And then last and of course not least, Lockjaw, the big old dog. Main power teleportation, also has an increased sense of smell, and surprisingly, or actually I guess unsurprisingly, has a really strong jaw.
Wow. Who would have thought?
I'm gonna guess the increased sense of smell and the strong jaw are due to the fact that he's a 5 foot tall, 1,300 pound dog. And those are things that dogs already have, much less dogs that are bigger than trucks. So,
exactly. He's kind of he's a highlight of the first 2 episodes. They did people to varying degrees gripe about the CGI, but I think that given the budget, I think he's a standout. I think that I think he's a nice contribution. He lights things up. He captivates you whenever he's on screen. So I think he is a very good addition. I think they did well with him.
Yeah. I think he is. I'm excited to see Lockjaw. But yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much it. That's quick overview, quickish 15-minute overview of who the Inhumans are, who eat as a whole, who they are as individuals. I missed this. Crystal, Medusa's sister, Quicksilver's wife. She was a former member of Fantastic Four as well, and also a former member of the Avengers.
Wow.
Yeah. So super neat little fun fact there. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really have a whole lot there. I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview of that so people could know. Because I feel like that's the one thing I feel like that's the reason that people aren't in theaters. Because who are the Inhumans? Like, I think it would have been a really brilliant marketing campaign for them to do like TV spots that were like bios. Like, who is Black Bolt? Who is Medusa? Who is Karnak? Like, because we don't know. Like mainstream, like your average citizen has no freaking clue who Black Bolt is. So when he gets punched in the gut by the cop at the end of the TV spot, and he shoots out this seismic blast from his mouth, like no one understands what's happening. No one understands that that's his power, and no one understands that that's why he doesn't speak.
Yeah, and the first 2 episodes delve a little bit into that, but I feel like your assessment is spot on as to why there are not more people going to see it, and I feel like that may also be problematic for the television audience, because you technically just gave more exposition about them than the first 2 episodes actually.
Yeah, and that's
do.
the thing.
So like, I mean, such a new franchise to people. You've got to be able to break it down to them in a format that's easy for them to grasp and understand. To introduce each character instead of requiring some sort of backstory or knowledge of who these people are.
I even look back at like the first Guardians movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, when it first came out. The first TV spot was the scene when they all get arrested.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly's checking them in to the prison, and he's reading like their rap sheets. Like, we don't know who these characters are. Like, I guarantee you, before that movie came out, like 20% of people who know who Groot is now knew who Groot was before. And 20 is being very generous.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing. Like, nobody knows these characters. Nobody knows anything about who Triton is. Nobody, like, when you show Ramsay Bolton on Inhumans and he's acting exactly the same, we can automatically assume he's going to be playing Ramsay Bolton again. But when you show Medusa and you show her hair choking Maximus, like, obviously that's her power. But who is this woman?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does she get to choke someone at all? Because she's the queen of Adelan, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't say that. So it's kind of, it was poor marketing, in my opinion. But I can stand on this soapbox for hours, and we don't have time for that because we have to talk about jams.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go talk about some jams. You guys check out Inhumans. Let us know what you think about Inhumans. If you've seen it, let us know. If not, then we'll circle back in early October, and we'll probably do a little baby roundtable of the pilot episode for everyone. See what everybody thinks. So let's talk about some jams. Let's move away from Inhumans, but hit us up on the internet.
What's your jam?
All right, Wonder Twin.
So I would say our jam, as we mentioned in the last episode, was Nintendo Switch. We finally picked up a Switch probably, I guess, a little over a month ago. It's unusual for us. We usually wait a few months before picking up the newest Nintendo console. We are, in case you've not picked up on this, we are Nintendo super fans. We have every Nintendo console from the NES all the way to now the Switch, everything in between. Mm-hmm. We even have Virtual Boys that we bought for clearance for $20 from Walmart in 1996.
Impressive.
So yes, we haven't pulled them out of the box in quite a long time, but what everybody tells you is true. It hurts your neck and it can give you a headache. Still, the best Wario Land game is on Virtual Boy. So I pity any of you that have not gotten to play Wario Land Virtual Boy. It is the best Wario Land game. Anyway, all that to say that we have really enjoyed our Switch so far. We've put so many hours into Breath of the Wild. We're traditionally not big Zelda fans. Like, I love Link to the Past. It's probably my favorite. As well as Majora's Mask has such a different vibe from any other Zelda game. I just love the 2D top-down Zeldas. A Link Between Worlds was fun. Minish Cap was fun. But, yeah, I've just never been a big fan of the 3D Zelda games until Breath of the Wild. And I'm sure so many people out there have already played it. They've been there and done that. But for me, it's just an amazing experience to, outside of the first hour or so of tutorial, you can do whatever you want. Like, we've spent hours outside of the tutorial doing whatever we wanted to. It has just been really fun and addictive. Just to, you get pushed to collect this one more thing, or get to this one more place, or to do this, or just to set your own goals and do what you want to. It's been really fun, and we have an ever-growing backlog of games. Mario and Rabbids, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Sonic Mania. So we've already got a backlog of games we need to get to, and Breath of the Wild is just eating up our time because I just don't feel like it just seems like it's never enough. So Nintendo Switch has definitely lived up to the hype. I think we're going to have to get our left Joy-Con sent off for the dreaded signal issues that plagued the very first releases of it, where the left Joy-Con kind of loses signal at a distance, which they've apparently fixed with a piece of foam in later models, but apparently the version. Yeah, it is weird. So apparently the version of the Switch we got must have been one of the early models that has the left Joy-Con issue. We'll have to send that off, but we have a Pro controller. We'll be okay. Which I actually love the Pro controller more than the Joy-Con. So if you want to fork out the money for a Pro controller, you'll definitely enjoy it. But yeah, Nintendo Switch has been our jam. What's your jam?
So my jam is actually a podcast majority jam, I think. So we've talked about it on the show a couple times, but we have a Final Fantasy. We have a fantasy football league for the podcast, for the co-hosts. It's called Final Fantasy Football. The only ones not doing it are the Wonder Twins.
Because I don't know much about the sports ball.
It's okay. Dane's team name is okay, I guess. And he didn't even show up to draft.
Wow.
But the Wonder Twins aren't doing it. Masterman Drabo also not doing it. Masterman Drabo has a much better excuse because he's in the process of moving, and he's got a baby on the way. He's just got a lot going on in his life. This next 6 months, but we've got a league.
Or this next 18 years,
right? Yeah. But we've got a league. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be posting pictures on our social accounts just to give you guys a heads up on where everybody is. I'm really proud. I take a lot of pride in having really terrible puns, and team names in fantasy football are pretty much expected to be really terrible football-related puns. And my nerdy Final Fantasy Football League team name is Wingardium Mariota, which is after, obviously, Wingardium Leviosa from Harry Potter. And Marcus Mariota, who is my starting QB from the Tennessee Titans. He's starting on my fantasy team. So I'm pretty excited about it. But me, Ginger Giant, MF Dane are in Division 2. Mr. Naughty List, Chris 2, and the Outlaw Steve Jr. in Division 1. Keep your eyes peeled for those photos. We're going to be posting them so you guys can talk crap. If you're playing, let us know. That'd be so fun. We can talk trash about each other's teams. Compare points on a week-to-week basis. It'll be a good time. So yeah, that's my jam. Final Fantasy Football League. final.
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy football final league-ness. But yeah, that's my jam. And that's the show. And that's the show. We made it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Just like we always do.
Oh, yes. And thank you as always for having us on. Hopefully Robert will be back.
It's just you. It's just
It is.
you don't have
Thank
to
you.
say us.
Nobody knows that aside from the fact that I just said it.
And we've said it multiple times.
Multiple times. Yes, so it's readily apparent. But
as
hopefully
always, you're a gem.
Always.
Glad
But
to
hopefully
have you on the
Robert
show.
will be back in a few weeks. God bless you all. Thank you. Have wonderful, wonderful times. And
Check
Chris
out
is
our
going
website.
to tell you all the other stuff.
Check out our website, betweenthecons.com. You can support the show on there. You can stream our music. Or our music. We don't make music. We make podcasts. You can stream our podcast. You can link out to our social media. If you like our theme music, check out Afixa, betweenthecons.com/bandcamp. We'll get you to his website. And then make sure you guys subscribe. Betweenthecons.com/subscribe. Click your podcast app or process that you prefer. And it'll take you out there. You can subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Overcast. We're on Google Play. We're on iHeartRadio. We have an RSS feed, so you can plug it into whatever you use for your RSS feeds. I mean, we got it all. So just tune in, subscribe, review, rate, do all those things, and most importantly, come back. Come back on Thursday. We're going to have a Pineapple episode hitting the headlines for you. It's going to be a good time. You don't want to miss it. But you guys have a great week in the meantime, and we will talk to you on Thursday.
Bye.
We had asparagus for dinner. My pee smelled so bad.